when I started with my daughter, I was like, we have to do all the things because all these women on
Mhm.
social media are like, preschool, you got to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm behind. I have to get going. And now that we've been doing this a couple years, I'm like, okay, we can
Mhm.
kind of alter our schedule with the homeschooling. So it's been super fun. Definitely a learning journey, but it's been very fun to figure that out the last couple years.
Mothering Holistically, where we aim to amplify everyday moms' voices, creating a relatable space to share stories, practical tips, and inspiration. We empower moms to embrace every season of motherhood with confidence and pursue their dreams with resilience. I'm your host, Kaylee Berlini, a former girl boss who traded her mobile spa bus for the wild ride of motherhood with twins. I'm so excited because today we are chatting with Noelle Dempsey, wife and homeschooling mama of 4. Together, her and her husband run a YouTube channel called A Dempsey Story, where they share an inside look into their family's life following Jesus, living joyfully, and seeking adventure in everyday life. So please give a warm welcome to Miss Noelle. All right, so how are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me on today.
Yes, it's such a pleasure. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. So I just want to start off. Me and my husband actually made the plan together to homeschool our children, and I see that you are thriving. It seems like you're thriving. From what I've gathered from Instagram and social media. So kind of just walk me through that. What inspired you to homeschool?
Yeah, it wasn't something I ever thought that I would do, but my
Okay.
my mother-in-law, my husband is one of 10 kids, and she homeschooled her children. And so it kind of got my wheels turning as we got married. And at first I was like, absolutely not. I could not do that. I have to send my kids to school all day to get a break. And then when I had
Yeah.
my kids and my daughter my oldest is 5 right now, and we're in kindergarten. So we're on the earlier side of our homeschooling journey, but when
Mhm.
she hit preschool age, I was like, I just can't imagine being apart from her and sending her away from me. So I just want to be with her and
Mhm.
all day. I love being around my kids. And so
Yeah.
all of my kids are very close together. They're all about a year and a half apart.
Okay.
So I have had a very tiny baby with me throughout the last couple of years that we've been homeschooling, but the just really wanting to be with my kids all the time. And then my husband
Mhm.
is an over the road truck driver and he's gone all the time. So
Oh.
I really just want to cater to his schedule too. So if we wanted to take a week off as a family, we're not tied to like a school schedule, a traditional public school system. So we can
Mhm.
kind of alter our schedule with the homeschooling. So it's been super fun, definitely a learning journey, but it's been very fun to figure that out the last couple years.
Wow, that's amazing. So your husband goes over the road. So you're saying that sometimes y'all go with him in
No,
the
we
that's
won't go
why.
with him, but if he
Oh,
were to
okay, okay.
take a week off and I have family in Arizona, and so if we wanted to take a week off, like a random week off, and go visit family, we could do that whenever if we're homeschooling, just based off of his schedule. Typically, with his work, we can't take off around holiday times, which is when,
Mhm.
traditional school system, the kids, if you want to
Right.
take a trip or do something, that's when you would do that, but he has to stay put during the holiday season. They really need the truck drivers, especially around that time. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it just really homeschool just seemed like a really awesome thing since we do love to travel, that it would work out great for us and we could take it on the road if we want to. So, yeah.
Yeah, the flexibility behind that. I really like that. I feel like I see that a lot on social media, like women who are inspiring other moms to homeschool. A lot of it stems from that flexibility. So you said that your husband's mom homeschooled. So was she a big part? Like what was your process of organizing the curriculum? I see on social media that you're very organized and things. So what was the process in getting everything that you needed?
Yes. So I definitely took inspiration from different people on social media that I follow. My mother in law hasn't homeschooled in a long time. So it's her young. is like 24, so it's been a while
Okay.
since she's done any type of homeschooling. But I did
Mhm.
pick her brain about, reading, writing, things like that. I believe she used a Becca when her kids were growing up, and I really wanted to kind of create my own homeschooling atmosphere and just have like a little bit more gentle. Becca seemed a little rigorous. And so I
Oh.
wanted something that was maybe more gentle. And I just started looking at different people online and what they were doing. So I really didn't do much preschool. With my daughter, we just read a lot and we just
Mhm.
played games and focused on colors and numbers. And now I found a curriculum this year that I'm super excited about because it's all written out. I really like order and structure, and everything is like, if here's what you do Monday through Friday each day,
Mm.
and here's a script about what you say to the child and waiting for the child's prompting. So that's really helped me a lot this year as we
Wow.
move into the year. It's been very helpful.
Okay, and then to find your curriculum, it was just trial and error, like, you didn't have to partner with any of your local schools or anything like that?
I didn't. In Minnesota, you don't have to submit your letter of intent to homeschool until they're 7. So we're still
Oh.
before that. We don't have to do that just yet because my daughter's only 5. But I do have a local group. There's a local homeschool group that
Mm.
meets like once a month, and so I'm connecting with them and asking those moms questions about how they have been navigating this process. So that's been very helpful too, to find a group of other like-minded homeschool moms and
Yeah.
just say, "Hey, I'm starting. What do I do? Can you help me?"
Okay, I really like that, and I did notice, your planner on social
Oh,
media. Yeah, I was like, "Wow, it's super organized, super well put together." What was your walk me through how you came upon the plan that you decided on. Why did you decide on that plan?
yeah. So again, social media is amazing. There's so many people, and I feel like the algorithm, once I'm like looking up homeschool things, it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gonna hone in on you and send you homeschool things. So I found some amazing women to follow, and I just stumbled across somebody else using this planner as I'm like researching homeschooling. And the Schoolnest Planner is super, super cool. I have always been a scrapbooker. I've been scrapbooking since I was young, and I really like that
Okay.
idea of having something be a blank canvas and turning it into something really pretty. So I've
Mhm.
really amped it up this year, and I got a bunch of stickers from Hobby Lobby and
Okay.
highlighters. I'm like color coordinating, and I really like the idea of having it be a keepsake. Like in regular traditional school, you get a yearbook and you get to have those little pictures of you and your classmates and different things that you would do throughout the year. But this is kind of like our yearbook of the year, and you're tracking and recording. And like I said, my daughter's a little on the younger side, but it gets me in the habit of tracking and recording when we reach the point where we have to submit that or keep track of that. So
Yeah.
it's fun and gets me in order. And then
Mhm.
also it's pretty. And my daughter loves to look back. Like last year when we did it, she likes to go back and look at the pictures. And sometimes she'll be like, "Oh, I remember when we did that." And so
Oh,
it's
wow. Yeah, when you said, a keepsake, that really made me smile because my stepmom's mom, took care of us when we were really young, and because I'm the youngest of the family, she took care of me the longest, and she did a lot of, like, preschool prep type of stuff with us to keep us busy, but, of course, to prepare us. And when I was an adult, I kinda went over there and I was asking her to, like, help me with sewing and stuff like that. And she was like, "I wanna show you something really funny that I found going through my stuff." And it was, like, all of our books that kinda look similar to what you have. Like, she kept, like, our coloring when we cut out things when we were writing our letters, and, like, it was so unique to see where I was at that age. And so it's definitely, I'm glad that you are, keeping that, and even now she's already appreciating that, but as an adult that experienced that, it was really cool to see your work when you were a child. I don't know, something about it just makes you feel like, "Oh, wow, that's how I used to write." No?
Not fun. Yeah, I do that with like art books too. I have like a 3-ring binder, and I'll put some of their artwork in it, and I'll just
Mhm.
when I do something, I'll stuff it in there, and then at the end of the year we looked at it and we went through, and she was so excited to see all the stuff that she did. And
Mhm.
go through and sort through what we're going to keep and what we're going to toss. But it's very fun to look back. Even, now it's really close, but then later on in years, I figure she's going to really enjoy that as she gets older.
Yeah, and so when you, like, got the stuff to prepare, because honestly, from the outside perspective, my daughters are 20, it feels or seems daunting to prepare a classroom and to do all of that. What like, did you take inspiration off of just things that she enjoyed? Like, how did you know, what was gonna work for you, to get started? Like, how did you know all the things that you needed? Was it like a pre-plan? Kind of explain that to me.
Well, the first year that I started, it was very much trial and error. I was like, I need crayons, markers, colored pencils, and paper. And that's where we started. And then I was like, oh, I should probably get some glue and maybe some popsicle sticks. I should probably a few more things. And so I've kind of accumulated things over the last like 3 years. We started preschool 3 years ago, did 2 years of that, and then now we're in
Oh.
kindergarten. And it's kind of grown, and I've grown my collection of things since we
Mhm.
started. But the nice thing about this recent curriculum that I have been utilizing, we're using My Father's World for my daughter's kindergarten and my son's preschool. It has a materials list that comes at the beginning of the curriculum, which is so nice. So I'll just go through and be like, okay, this is exactly what I need for the year. And then if we want to, we just do what works for us. We're maybe not getting to everything that it suggests in the curriculum,
Mhm.
maybe a particular craft or something to bake or make.
Mm.
I'll utilize Google and I will just say, hey, is there like a free printable that we could use for this particular topic? Or is there a craft idea that I could gain knowledge about so that we could do that in our home? So it's evolved over time and we've gotten a bigger space. But one thing that has stood out to me, we do have a designated schoolroom. We end up doing our school most of the time at our kitchen table. And so I don't think a huge schoolroom is necessary. You do obviously need a space to keep all your craft stuff and all your books and your curriculum. But outside of that, doing school at the kitchen table has really been what we've been doing, even though, like I said, we have a schoolroom slash playroom. So you can do it anywhere.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like that's like, you always wanna be like, this is where I have this, and this is where I have that," and then stuff just ends up like,
Everywhere.
exactly. Exactly, and I know that you have 4 children and only 2 are in, like, a structured plan. How are you balancing that with 2 in school and then 2 little ones?
Oh yeah, it's been tricky. I'm still trying to find my rhythm. We're going to be in week 5 of
Mhm,
school this upcoming week. So I'm trying to try out different schedules to see how it best fits. And each day is different because I have a 6 month old and I have a 2 year old. So they're napping. The 2 year old's pretty consistent, but the 6 month old, it's just, he kind of naps when he feels like he's going to nap. But so what we've been doing is we start our morning at the breakfast table with school. So we'll start with our Bible reading and maybe some scripture, and maybe if they are open to it, we'll read like our book, a book
mhm.
at least one, and we'll start that at the breakfast table, and then we will move and we will clean up. We'll get dressed, and then I will try right away to do my son's preschool with him if he is ready for that. It only takes about like 15 minutes to do the preschool. So it's very gentle, very light. It doesn't take, 3 year olds don't have a huge attention span. So I'll try to do that with him. And then I will let him go run outside. I'm like, okay, go. We've done it. Good job. And send him outside to run with the 2 year old and with the
Okay.
5 year old. And then I save kindergarten. I try, sometimes I will do it if the other kids are distracted playing with something, we'll start it right then and there. But if it's too much for me or it feels too daunting, the baby's awake and he needs me, I'll just send everybody outside and we'll play. And then when the littles, I'll go down for their like 12:30, 1 o'clock nap. I will do kindergarten with my daughter. And that has seemed to work really well because at least the 2 year old and the 3 year old, I know for sure, are doing a quiet time. The baby may or may not be awake, but it gives
Mhm.
me a more structured and uninterrupted time to do kindergarten with my daughter. So that's kind of how we've been doing that, preschool in the morning and kindergarten when 2 of them are napping.
I like that. I like that. And like you like kind of going back to the flexibility of we have to totally go with the flow.
Yes.
And I genuinely feel that, like what I'm learning is that when I feel like, oh, I have this plan, I have this structure, especially, starting to be more involved in social media and on the podcast and stuff, it's like I have this plan, this idea of how my days are going to go. And it's so easy to kind of knee jerk and be upset or to get frustrated because it's not going the way that you planned it. But to I'm like that mental preparation person. Like if I can just mentally prepare myself and explain to myself, like, okay, Kaylee, it's not always gonna go as you plan. Every day is not gonna look the same. And that has really helped me. So I like that you say, sometimes it's honestly we make it work. No.
It's really not the same every day. I've seen some
Mhm,
people on social media, we do this at 8:30 and we do this at 9 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, I have such little kids and I just can't be that plant
mhm,
structured as much as I would like
mhm,
to be because I'm very organized. It's just not going to work at this stage of life. Maybe when they're older and we can when they're older, we can stick to a schedule a little bit better. Definitely, I would like to implement some timestamps. But for now, we just see how the mood is and we work with that.
I mean, but let's be honest. Okay, let's be honest. Sometimes I do feel like, people are on social media and they want stuff to look unattainable and aesthetically pleasing. And that looks, a lot of people, unfortunately, I don't know what the psychology is behind that, but I do feel like a lot of people follow and they're drawn into things that seem impossible. And so when people are living their day-to-day lives, they're like, how does this person do this on this timetable every day consistently? But maybe that person is just putting what their ideal schedule would be,
Yeah.
and their life is just as crazy as ours.
I'm sure it is. This is what the perfect day looks like. Let's look at the perfect day. Which sometimes we get those. We're like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, like the
Yeah.
kids didn't fight. They didn't they didn't complain about doing school and they weren't bickering and we got it done at like the time that I wanted to. But that's like
Mm.
a one-off day. It's not the everyday thing, which is why I've started to share I've tried to share every day a snippet of what we're doing in the homeschool, and it's very different. Sometimes all at the table in the morning at breakfast, sometimes a little bit later, sometimes it's at 10 a.m., sometimes it's at noon, and sometimes it's at after 1 o'clock, or sometimes it's after nap time. It all just depends if we have appointments or we're going to Bible study. We have a weekly Bible study that we do. So it
Mhm.
varies so much. So I'm trying to say, hey, it doesn't have to be at the same time every day, but as long as you get a little bit in, it works great.
Mhm. Yeah, so how do you make sure that you do like if it's always varying sometimes, how do you make sure like what is your do you have like a hard stop like we have to make sure we do it by this time or by this thing? Because I mean, for just like a stupid example, for me, I'm on a weight loss journey and I'm trying to, make sure I get my protein in every day. If I don't get my protein smoothie in the morning, honestly, I've noticed it just doesn't happen. So I'm kind of like comparing that. Like, how do you make sure that it still gets done even with the chaos?
Yeah. So my timestamp is basically I want to get it done but before dinner, basically. And so I try to get it all done before they all go down for their nap at about 1 o'clock. And that's my goal every day. It's like, okay, let's be done with this by the time 1 o'clock hits. And then if we don't get, typically I can do that with preschool, but with kindergarten, again, it's just putting those kids to bed. And we definitely don't do anything beyond like they get up from their nap around 3 o'clock. So we don't if we do something, it's like on Friday, we'll do like our social studies and maybe it's fun to like do some Play Doh or whip out something. And I'm like, oh, what's animal is this as we're using cookie cutter? So it's kind of school, but it's more of like a craft. Like we'll do a craft
Mhm.
after nap time. But I do try to get everything accomplished before 1 o'clock so that we can have the rest of our day to just be outside and just be loose with our schedule and have fun.
A and how are you planning, like, different activities? And if I may ask, because I feel like right now, with my daughters being 20 months, I am kind of struggling with activity. I don't know if it's because I have multiples, but it's really hard for me to do like some type of structured activity. Do you feel like that's normal, or was there a certain age where you noticed, a change?
Yeah, definitely with my first, I my first kids are 18 months apart. So my
Okay.
daughter was about 18 months when my son was born, and then it took me like about that 6 to 8 weeks to be like, okay, I'm ready to like pour back into my daughter and give her some structured play and fun. Um,
Hmm.
and I feel like in between that like 18-month to 2.5 year stage, they're just like the development is crazy in between that time frame because they're learning their voice and they have a say and their personality is like really coming into the open. And I have that with my daughter right now. She just turned 2 and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, your little personality is just it's so fun to see." And she's willing to do more structured things now that she's, hit 2. So it's more fun. Like she'll do the Play-Doh. She's starting to do the coloring and things like that. So I feel like in between that, like I said, 18-month to about 2.5 year mark, it's like some days they'll be into the things and some days not. My daughter's really into babies. So we do a lot of babies. And when we whip out the Play Doh, she's right there and ready to go. And that used to really stress me out. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's Play Doh everywhere. But I'm just,
Yes.
all right, the mess is fun. They're having fun.
Hmm.
Sensory thing. So I don't care if it's like the Play-Doh that's everywhere, or I give them like a little pair of scissors and they're snipping up tiny bits of paper, or they're digging in like the rice sensory bin. If it's a little bit of a mess, it's not that big of a deal. We'll get a broom or a vacuum and clean it up, and they've had a great time. And the cleanup doesn't really matter all that much.
Yeah, again, back to that, like just letting it be, just breathing. I they my daughters are really into the sand. I got kinetic sand, and, like, sometimes I'm like, "Why did I do this to myself?" But they love it so much, and, I'm struggling right now because 'cause they're still in that, like, taste things type of phase. So that is, like, I think that's when my anxiety just kicks up a little bit more 'cause I'm like, "Can't be eating that." But beyond I do try to do, like, those, homemade crafts where
Mhm.
you, like I did the moon sand with the powder I mean, the flour and the oil and stuff like that. So I do try that, but I feel like they like the store-bought stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah. The kinetic is great. It's like my least favorite thing that we own. I did find out, so here in Minnesota, we have the Mall of America, and I recently took my kids to the Crayola experience, and
Oh.
I got my hands on modeling clay. I'm forever changed. It is so much better than Play-Doh. It doesn't fall apart and have all that ickiness. It's so nice and easy to mold. We had kids age 2 to 5 playing with it, and they loved it. It kept them busy for so
Oh,
long. It keeps them
modern.
warm, and the modeling clay was, like, life-changing. I couldn't believe I hadn't tried it before.
And it's with Crayola? I gotta look that up.
Yeah, so I think you can get it through different companies, but we went to the Crayola experience, so it was Crayola brand, but yeah, the modeling clay was amazing, and the kids loved it, so
Yeah. I know they're in they like the sand, but I think they like more that it, like, rains
oh, yeah.
'cause yeah, but I'm like, "Am I doing everything that I need to be doing? Am I behind?" That type of thing. Because 'cause they're always so, busy, and they're not looking to me too much, but, like you said, making sure, like, just getting some reading in and things like that. It's making me feel a little bit better to encourage play.
I definitely dialed it back with the preschool. When I started with my daughter, I was like, "We have to do all the things because all these women on
Mhm.
social media are like, preschool, you gotta do this, this, and this." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm behind. I have to get going." And now that I we've been doing this a couple years, I'm like, "Okay, we need to read. We need to read, read, read for preschool and then give them the opportunity to point out like, go get me one of something or can you show me two?
Mm.
Like get me two items. This is two or and to like, oh, that's red or yellow, pointing out colors. So we just we try to keep it super simple. The preschool curriculum that I got this time has been so gentle. It's like you do one
Mm.
activity a day. You're learning a Bible verse for like 3 weeks. you're focusing on one color and one number and one animal. And so it's very gentle, but we basically, for that age, just focus on reading books to the kids and doing tiny little crafts because they love crafts.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that, and I feel like you said, you can be on social media and comparing yourself, and someone said to me, actually someone that I interviewed was saying that comparison is the thief of joy, and none of our kids are the same, so it's really nice to learn from other people, but of course to understand your children and, to kinda curate a new experience for them, so I like that you're saying that because talking to you has made me feel a little bit
Oh,
made
the
me feel a little better.
thing really came into focus for me because a couple weeks ago my phone died. It just went kaput, black screen, and I couldn't get access to one for 5 days, I think. I went completely
Oh,
without a phone. And so I was like, well, this is new because you're used to like grabbing it and picking it up and
mhm.
like what time is it? Or you got a message and you're just like touching it and I have mine right here. So it's just like you're so
Yeah.
used to having it and having instant access. But I did notice when I didn't have it, I wasn't looking at social media and being like, what is this mom doing today? Or what is that like, there's so much comparison with social media and that can be hard. It just really put things into focus for me. I was so focused in on my kids and what we were doing as a family, and it really helped me like, oh my gosh, like I need to be off my phone more. I don't want my kids to be like, what does your mom like to do? It's like, oh, I'm still like I don't want them to remember me staring at a device. So that's
Yeah.
an eye opener, that's for sure.
Yeah, actually, sometimes I have to, like I remember one time I put my phone in the cabinet because I was like, "I just need some peace." But my I first experienced this with my nephew. He would be like, "No phone, no phone." Not with me, of course, but my sister-in-law and my brother. And I'm starting to get like, my daughters are starting to get that way. Not that I'm on my phone a lot, but just anytime I pick up my phone because we, like, FaceTime family and things like that, it's like they either want to take my phone or they're like, "Grandpa," or, that type of thing. Other than that, it's like, get off your phone. And, I'm experiencing this with my daughters. They don't like, they're okay if I'm sitting on the couch and being a potato, and they can come cuddle with me, but then they could, like it's like I feel like what they're going through, if I can compare this, and I don't know if anyone else experiences this, but it's like someone's favorite toy or something like when they set up their dolls and they put their doll or their teddy bear down and then they're like, "Okay, you're good." And they walk away from their teddy bear and they start playing. It's like I'm the teddy bear and I have to just sit
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm like, you girls are playing and you're having fun. So then I try to like, okay, they're busy, they're occupied, so I'll sit at the table. And as soon as I sit down, I cannot sit down. Here they come. And
Mhm.
I'm like, what the
Yep.
like
Like
let me join. Let me join.
it's
Ah,
by the way, twins are my actual dream. I always wanted to have twins. I think it would be so fun to have a lot, very, very a lot to take on to have 2 at once, especially in the newborn stage with nursing, but just like how
mm,
I just what a blessing, how amazing. I
thank you.
the coolest thing to have too.
Yeah, honestly, I'm like I'm kind of jogging my memory of yesterday. Someone was like, I think it would be best to do twins first. And of course, I don't know anything else. I only have the girls, the twins. So I, after nursing them for 20 months and going through all of that, the only thing I don't know if I could have done it if I had a toddler running around or multiple other kids running around. So I feel like, yes, having twins is a lot, but when it's all you have, you don't know anything else. I think my heart really, really, truly goes out to the mom who already had children, especially multiple children, and then they're hit with twins. I think that is like,
My one of my best
whew,
friends, she had 2 single births, and then with her 3rd pregnancy, got pregnant with triplets, like, naturally. It's, like, such
wow.
Such a crazy thing. And so she went from 2 to 5 kids with 1 pregnancy, and what she got a lot of help from her parents and her brother.
Mm,
I mean, you have to when you're going from 2
mhm,
to 5 and to have multiple kids, and I just watched her do it with such grace, and
mm,
it was very daunting because we would make sure that we at least went over there once a week when we lived closer to her to have
mhm.
some companionship and some friendship so I could hold some babies and the kids could play, that
Yeah.
were similar age, but it's just like it was a lot, especially the first year. It's like, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" But you did it, now the triplets are 4 and they're going to preschool, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, time is
Wow.
such a thief."
Oh,
Like,
I know. I know, actually interviewing a mom, who has triplets, and she kinda has a very, difficult, like, journey of having children and things like that. So she's actually in the UK, and she'll be coming on and sharing her, because she has a daughter, an older daughter, like I think she's like 8 or something.
yeah.
And then yeah, she has triplets. So now she has 4 girls. And I'm really excited to talk to her because I feel like that is exactly what I mean, triplets alone, you have 2 hands,
I know.
so twins can fit 1 in each hand, but that 3rd baby, my heart goes out, and, you're seeing it firsthand kind of with your sister-in-law?
No, it's just a
Okay.
friend of mine.
Oh, a friend, and then, yeah, so I'm excited to hear her story and to hear, how she's doing it because I feel like maybe because I have multiples, my algorithm makes it feel like everyone is having
I'm sure.
'cause I'm like, "Is it just me or is there so
Something
many
in water?
people?" Yeah, and then on top of that, when we go out in public, people, "Oh, twins? Oh, mine are 30. Oh, twins? Or mine are 6. Oh, twins? Or mine are this." And I'm like, "Does everybody?" It's like that law of attraction.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How fun.
Everyone's always like, "Oh, mine are this age," and I'm like they're like, "It gets fun. Doesn't get easier." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks."
Yeah, it's having children is such a blessing, but there are tough moments. And when I had the 4th baby, my mom flew here to help us for the first couple weeks, which was so
Mhm.
amazing. But she's around my kids, here and there. She'll fly and visit us, and she's like, "So is someone just always crying?" And I was like, "Well, there's one of me and 4 of them. So sometimes, if I have to sit and nurse the baby and the toddler, falls, like, she has to come to me, and I sometimes there is a little bit of crying or somebody has to wait because I'm helping another child. So yeah, sometimes they're learning to self-soothe a little bit sooner than an only child, but
Right.
yeah, sometimes there's a little bit of crying, and we work through that.
And how are you? I mean, you seem so light and bright, and the crying starts to wear on me. I think maybe knowing yourself is anyway, not anyway. The crying wears on me, and that's why I'm like, okay, I'm definitely going to wait a while before trying again. So how are you like navigating that? How are you staying positive and things?
Jesus. Jesus is my number one answer. So when the kids are crying or they have a bad attitude, I will literally turn on worship music and
Mm,
we will sing and we will dance and we'll have a dance party. And that I try to use the Holy Spirit to change and shift the mood. And
mm,
that's really helped a lot. I know when my daughter, literally, we live 45 minutes from a city where there's like a Costco and a Target and stuff like that. We're very remote, and my daughter was crying for the entire 45-minute drive yesterday. And
wow.
there's only so many times I can pull over. She just was unhappy. She didn't want to be in the car. And so I'm like, we're blasting worship music and we're singing. We're going to praise the Lord and we're going to try and shift the mood in this car. But that is something that's been really fun. My kids love a good dance party. So the newer Christian music is so uplifting and fun,
Mm,
and it feels like
mhm.
a dance party. Like we've been
Yeah.
listening to Forrest Frank and his
Yes,
music.
yes.
nonstop, and I'll blast it on the speakers and we'll run around and dance. And it's just been, my kids love that. And it's just such
Hmm.
a mood lifter. And
Yeah.
it's so fun. And I love the words of his lyrics too. So I'm like, yes, you learn these lyrics. These are great lyrics to be repeating and singing. So that's been huge. My mom told me that like whenever there was a bad mood, like I just put on worship music, whether it's loud or it's quiet. It's just very calming. It brings in the Holy Spirit and it helps people to calm and have a better demeanor. So that's been huge for us.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm the same way. I love worship music. I think sometimes, not to like again go down a tangent, but I do feel like when you believe in Jesus and you love God, you truly understand and appreciate your children.
Oh yeah.
And it's hard to get like frustrated and upset when it's like you prayed for them or you feel blessed to have them and you start to be in this moment of gratitude. And that really helps me as well, just to be like grateful. Like I look at them and I'm like, I've always wanted to be a mom. I've always wanted to be here in my life. And especially to be even more blessed to be a stay at home mom and to be doing the things that I want to do. And that really helps. So, you know, just a tip for anyone listening and things like, try to practice gratitude because that helps me a lot too, just to look at them and be like, they're healthy and they're happy and we're good. And maybe right now in this moment, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
Maybe right now in this moment, I wish I could be doing something else, but
Yep.
just gratitude. I feel like it's so, it's a really big proponent for me because I wish I could do more music at home,
Yeah.
but the pick me up. As soon as I turn on music, pick me up, pick me up.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, I turned on this music to relax.
The curriculum we're using they do like a classical music Friday. So they have like it set up
Mm.
on their media page of like their website, depending for the kindergarten at least. And so on Fridays,
Okay.
I tried this yesterday. It suggested it to put a beanbag on our head and tried to walk around proper with like the classical
Oh.
music. And they thought that was the funnest thing ever because they're like going really fast and it falls off. I'm like, no, you got to go slow. You got to slow down. But the music, it's just like, they love music. I got them each
Mhm.
their little Yoto players, one for my 3-year-old and then one for my 5-year-old, and they just love it. And they have such a difference in taste of what they like to
Mhm.
listen to. You know, my son is like dinosaurs and ocean animals and dragons. He's really into that stuff. So he gravitates towards that. And then my daughter is like Fancy Nancy and Princess and ballet and stuff like that. And so they have their differing tastes, but as soon as the music comes on, everybody's ready to dance and play. So the music changes a lot in our home.
I love that. And I know you mentioned the Yoto players. I saw that on your socials. I saw that you make like your own cards. I've never looked it up, but when I saw you kind of post it, I'm assuming it's like when you put in the card, it starts to read you a book,
Yeah,
that
so
type
it
of thing?
does books and music. So I
Okay.
you can purchase things directly through Yoto, and they have differing audiobooks and music, but there's not like a lot of faith-based options for Yoto cards,
Mhm.
but there's different MP4s that you like different tracks or books or music that you can purchase and then you can put it on the make your own Yoto card. So that's what I've done. I curated a list
Oh.
and created like a Jesus storybook reading off of YouTube
Mhm.
and I converted it to an MP4 and then I put it on a card and so they can listen to the Jesus storybook Bible. Shepherd Kids has some amazing tracks, both audiobooks and music that are geared towards like the toddler age. My 2-year-old loves them.
Mm.
They're short, sweet, and simple. And again, those are with the make your own. So you just purchase the MP4 and then you can put it on the card. And it's been amazing. So I've gotten a lot of my faith-based Yoto cards that way, making my own by purchasing these links from these varying companies. It's been really nice.
That's cool, yeah, because I was like, you just put a picture and
Well, yeah, it takes a little bit of time because you purchase the link, and then
Mhm.
okay, how do I get like a pretty picture on the card so it's not just like the blank card and you can differentiate and not instead of just like putting
Mhm.
Sharpie on it. So I do have on Instagram like a little tutorial of how
Yeah.
I did that, and I'll just use like sticker paper and then I'll cut it out to kind of match using like a Canva template, and I'll print it and cut it and put it on there and it's not like as perfect as the Yoto cards that you purchase from the company, but it works. It has picture. They know what
Mhm.
it is and they can select it. So That's been super awesome for our family. We are actually taking all 4 kids on an airplane next week for the first time, and I'm
Wow.
bringing the 2 kids, they're Yoto players, to bring on the airplane for the trip. I do have to figure out headphones. I've
Mm.
never done headphones with the kids before, so hopefully they'll keep them on and utilize the Yoto player, but I think that'll be super fun. We'll see how they do with the Yoto while we're traveling.
Yeah, that would be super cool. Cause so you don't do any, screen or anything like that?
Well, we'll watch TV as a family, but we don't have any tablets. We don't let
Mhm,
them
mhm,
use the computer. They're not allowed to use our phone. And my daughter finally figured out how to take pictures with my phone. So sometimes she'll like sneak my phone and be like, "Smile, say cheese," and that's the extent of what she knows to do with the phone. And we
mhm.
want to keep it that way for as long as possible. And that's part of the reason why with this homeschooling journey, when I was choosing curriculum, I've seen like a lot of companies it is homeschool, but they're still using a computer and they're watching a teacher on the computer. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't want my kids to stare at a screen if I can help it. So,
yeah.
like, I want them to be looking at me and interacting with me. And if it comes to a point where I'm feeling overwhelmed, and because I have so many kids that are a year and a half apart and they're so
Mhm.
close together in age, maybe when they get older, and I might need to do like a one off class and like, okay, you do this class on your computer while I'm working with this child. Like, it wouldn't be an entire curriculum online, but I've thought about that for down the road since I have so many kids, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, we try to limit the screen time. Mostly screen time for my kids means like, let's pick a movie and watch it together. So that's
Yeah.
the extent of their screen time.
Yeah, you kinda mentioned in the beginning, like, I had a question, was just like, was this how you always imagined your life to be? Did you always want a lot of kids?
Um, my I didn't think that I did. I grew up in a family of 2, and then we
Mm,
became a blended family when I was in high school because my mom remarried. Um,
okay.
but it was always just me and my brother growing up, and it's my life vastly changed when I met my husband. He just opened my eyes to the difference that you can have in life and not just being like a city family with the 2 kids and you have the 2 kids. And when we got married, I was like, we had a conversation before we got married, like, okay, we are like, are we going to like, we need to go, I want to go to church. Are we going to church? How many kids do you want? It was like an interview on our first date. Like, are we compatible? Let's figure this out. And we both were like, we want 4 kids. And he came from 10 and he's like, I want 4. I'm like, okay, I want 4, but you're not getting any more than 4 kids. And I was pretty strict on the number. Now I have 4 kids and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're such a blessing. And God has opened my heart so much. I'm like, I want more. I want more kids. And people are like, you do? Isn't that a lot? And I'm like, yeah, like, isn't that crazy how my heart can shift so much where I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, 4 is a lot. I'm super busy, but I'm like, I want more. Like, what an incredible blessing to bring these children into the world and be the light that we need to have. I've been asked so many times, like, aren't you like nervous to bring up kids in this time and age? It's like such
Mm.
a difficult world that we live in. And I'm like, we need more people to be the light. Like, we're raising your
Yes.
children to be kingdom builders, and
Yes.
like we have so many people that are having children that don't know Jesus and are growing up without the Lord and without his guidance. And I want to add to that and be able to
Mhm.
pour into my children. Like every day when we pray, I'm like, please, Lord, help my children to come to know you at a young age, to never waver in their faith, and to share the word of God with others, whatever that looks like for them, so that we can all spend eternity together in heaven. And that's a
Yeah.
part of our everyday prayer, is to focus on knowing Jesus, loving Jesus, sharing him with others,
Mhm.
so that we can bring as many people into the kingdom of heaven as possible. So I'm just like, more kids. I'm ready. I'm open.
I love that, I love that, and, that kind of also goes into my question, like, how are you have you ever experienced any negativity around homeschooling your kids?
Yes, yes, definitely. Before I even like started schooling, my daughter was like an infant, and I was like, I think I want to homeschool because, like I said, I didn't want to be away from her. It's like I just can't imagine dropping her off and being like, see you for the whole
Mhm.
day. And maybe if parents are working, like I understand the need to do daycare or preschool or stuff
Yeah.
like that. But for me, I just like could not imagine being apart from her. So yeah, when I started talking to people and said that I wanted to homeschool, they were just like, "Why would you do that? like, and I've had some kickback as we've been doing it the last couple of years from not everybody. Some people, now that I'm like sharing it online, they're like, "Oh my gosh, like you're doing
Yeah.
so great. Like what an
Mhm.
amazing education. And like, we're so proud of you for doing what you're doing." But at the beginning, I'm like, they're going to miss out on things. Like, what about
Mhm.
socialization? What about like going to the prom? Like my kid's like 4. I'm not thinking about prom. So, like there is a little bit of negativity, but I think that that's another reason why I'm so excited to share what we're doing, to be like, education can look different for different people. I'm not worried about socialization for my kids. I think that's just is such that just a common thing that people like attack
Mhm.
for homeschooling. But I've met so many homeschooled kids, and I'm like, these kids are so socialized because they're not
Mhm.
just they're working and they're integrating and doing school with different age levels. They're not like segregated to this is your age group and you only interact with this age group. They're interacting with the babies, the toddlers, the older kids. And we go to a weekly Bible study where kids are infant to like 8 plus, and they're interacting with those kids. We go to church, we go to the grocery store, they're interacting with the postal workers. So like there's a lot of socialization happening throughout our week.
Mhm.
Maybe isn't like the traditional school way where it's just you're socializing with your one age group, but it
Right.
looks a little bit different and for homeschool families. And I think homeschool kids, if done right, are some of the most socialized children.
Mhm. I know it when you said, like, prom and my father-in-law is always like, What about the Christmas play?"
Oh, the grown-ups are serious. Their
But
associations, yeah.
yeah, I mean, and with the prom though, I mean, if they're in extracurriculars and sports and things like that, they can go with a friend or they
Yeah.
can get invited that way.
My
Um
husband's family members, like I said, he's one of 10, and
Mhm.
so many of the kids were asked to go to the prom, and whether it was
Mhm.
like a boyfriend girlfriend situation or like just friends, just like, "Hey,
Mhm.
you guys wanna come
Yeah.
with us?" So it's not like that's not an option. Like I said, we're very far away from the prom, but
Yeah.
if they're gonna have friends and that are gonna be in
Exactly.
the school system, so there'll be an opportunity if they really want to have the prom experience.
Well, this has been lovely. This has been such a lovely conversation. And again, I really appreciate you agreeing to chat with me and to kind of share your insight about homeschooling and being a stay at home mom. And of course, having Jesus, God, at the forefront of your life. You can definitely see how much of a light you are. And you have totally continued to give me a positive understanding of homeschooling because, like you said, we also one have been talking about homeschooling since they were really small, and we have also received, pushback and you know that type of thing from family and friends. But it's nice to meet someone who's doing it and whose children are thriving. And I love your content
Oh,
on your personal platform at Noelle Hunt.
yeah.
And so where you share just insight into your life as a stay-at-home mom, like I said, is there anything else that, you want to share or let us know before we go?
Yeah. So my personal page at Noel Hunt is mostly for like the day-to-day homeschooling mom stuff, like the mom life
Okay.
type things, what we're doing. And then our Dempsey story page, it's kind of taken a little bit of a hiatus because when my husband and I first got married, we sold everything and we traveled the world. And then I got pregnant. So we came back and then COVID hit and the world like shut down. So it's like we've kind of had a little bit of a pause. And then I just kept having babies. So the travel kind of like took a back burner for a little bit, but we have some super fun trips coming up. And as I've been learning about content creation and creating reels, because photos are like a thing of the past now on Instagram.
Yeah.
So like I have a lot of really fun content coming up for our trips that we have planned, and just more like what we do, like activities as a family. Like I shared our trip going to Mall of America and how I navigated that with 4 little
Mm.
kids and what to see and what to prioritize when you're there. And so I'm just kind of trying to focus more on travel and family activities on that other page, whereas my personal page is like the day-to-day homeschool mom stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a little bit of a differentiation. It's kind of a little bit of a juggle to juggle both accounts and try to figure out what I'm going to do for both. And but yeah, it's both of them are a super fun follow. And if you guys have the opportunity
Yes.
to check it out, yeah.
Yes, definitely follow her. And of course, we'll have all of her links in the description down below where you can find her and connect with her because, like I said, as she's coming through talking to me, she's such a light, but you also can feel that on her socials. And it's another reason why. And honestly, your profile picture is so angelic.
I think
It's
that was
such
for
like
my
this.
wedding day. That was like a
Oh,
wedding
really?
picture. Yeah. And I was like, that's like the best picture of me ever. My hair is perfect because I paid someone to do it. So I like keeping that picture.
Such a beautiful photo. I was like talking to my husband about it. I was like, her picture is like so angelic. It's like,
Thank you. I've thought
yeah.
about like changing. I'm like, my hair's not that blonde anymore. I don't have time to go to the salon to keep it up. But I just love that picture. So I'm going to keep it for as long as possible, but I'll probably have to update at some point.
All right. So as we close, definitely, you can follow me at Kaylee Berlini on all social media platforms. And you can also follow the podcast to stay in the know about the Everything Podcast, any sneak peeks or any announcements that we have. That's Mothering Holistically on Instagram and Facebook. And then if you learned anything or if you're planning on homeschooling your children, if you're a stay-at-home mom, definitely tag us, Mothering Holistically podcast, so we can hear your stories and connect with you. This is a big community. This is a resource. We are your friend because it was lonely. It gets lonely. So that's another reason why this podcast was created, because I was feeling very lonely and wanting to reach out to other moms and learn and feel inspired. So definitely tag us, Mothering Holistically podcast. And if you like this episode and feel it resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up by clicking that like button. It really helps us out. And feel free to share it if this can encourage someone or, educate them on something that they didn't know about homeschooling. And also subscribe while also hitting that notification bell to never miss a weekly episode. So until next time, remember to mother holistically and thrive authentically. I'm your host, Kaylee Berlini, and together we're winning. Bye, y'all.